Please help. My Lyly dying. It was a quiet Sunday morning in a small Michigan town when a 911 operator received the most unusual call of her career. Please help, cried a tiny, tearful voice. My Lyly is dying. She's not breathing. The voice belonged to a little girl named Emma, only 5 years old. Confused but concerned, the operator asked her to repeat, and that's when Emma added, "She's my best friend, she's my dolly." The line went silent for a second. Then Emma sniffled and whispered, "I called the number I saw on Mommy's phone. Please don't let her die." Emma had dialed the wrong number, not 911, but the private emergency hotline listed under her mother's workplace contact list. That number didn't belong to any hospital. It belonged to James Callahan, a billionaire tech entrepreneur known for building smart health systems and quietly funding emergency relief centers across the country. His assistant answered, expecting a company-related emergency. Instead, she heard the desperate cries of a little girl, believing her doll was dying. Rather than hang up or laugh it off, the assistant immediately patched the call through to James, who was in the middle of a board meeting. He heard the child's shaking voice and the words, "She's not waking up. I tried giving her water and hugs. I don't know what to do." Something shifted in James. Maybe it was the raw innocence of Emma's voice. Maybe it reminded him of his own daughter, who had passed away years ago due to a rare illness. Whatever it was, he stood up, canceled the meeting, and said, "Get the car ready, and an ambulance." Emma lived in a modest neighborhood, in a small duplex with peeling paint and a patchy yard. Her mother was working a double shift as a waitress that day, and Emma was home with her teenage brother, who hadn't even noticed she was on the phone. So when a sleek black car and an ambulance pulled up in front of their house minutes later, neighbors peeked out from windows, confused and concerned. Q. Emma, with her pigtails messy and her cheeks wet with tears, opened the door clutching a soft, worn-out rag doll with one button eye and pink yarn hair. "She's here," Emma said, serious and wide-eyed. "Please save her." James knelt down to her level, looking nothing like the billionaire tech mogul he was, just a man, moved by something pure. "Hi Emma," he said gently. "Is this Lyly?" She nodded. "Don't worry," James smiled, signaling to the paramedics. "We brought the best doctors in the world. Let's take a look." The paramedics, quickly catching on, played along. They placed Lyly on a stretcher, examined her with their instruments, and even wrapped a tiny bandage around her arm. One of them whispered to James, "You want us to take her to the hospital?" James replied with a grin, "Absolutely. She'll need surgery. Emergency stitching." Emma clung to James's hand as they reassured her that Lyly would be just fine. She looked up at him with pure trust and said, "Thank you, Mr. Dr. Mann." Over the next few days, Lyly was treated at a nearby children's hospital that James funded, where a few nurses actually repaired the doll's stuffing, replaced her button eye, and even sewed a tiny hospital gown for her. Emma was invited to visit, where she was greeted with balloons and a doctor's note that read, "Lyly is recovering well. You're the best mommy she could ask for." The story spread like wildfire. A bystander had posted a video of the ambulance arriving for a doll, and it quickly went viral. But what people couldn't see in that video was the healing that took place in James's heart. That day, he didn't just fix a doll. He held space for a child's imagination. He honored innocence. And in doing so, he rediscovered a piece of himself that had been buried under years of grief and corporate success. James stayed in touch with Emma and her family. He funded her school, sent her books and toys, and helped her single mother get a better job. But none of that mattered more than the bond formed in those first few minutes, when one little girl's love for a broken doll sparked a chain reaction of compassion. Years later, when Emma became a pediatric nurse, she often told the story to comfort frightened children. "You know," she'd say with a smile, "once, a billionaire brought an ambulance just for my dolly. Anything is possible when someone cares." In a world often too busy to notice small cries, this story reminds us that no act of love is too small, no voice too tiny to matter, and that sometimes, a child's imagination can awaken the deepest humanity in us all.